Hey guys, DB here of DB Handicrafts. Long time no see, right? I hope you've been enjoying all the little builds that I've been doing. I thought I'd be going a little bit old school, or from scratch, so to say. I got this cute little coffee shop from Michael's, and I took they had some table and chairs that were not to scale at all, and I took those off the front, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. It's been sitting around for a while. I think what I want to do with this and give it a try and make a farmer's market or a produce stand. What do you think? And maybe we'll add some lights and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so here we go. We got our little coffee shop and we're getting ready to transform it. I found this little scrap of wood which will make a perfect base for us. And I just base painted the whole thing, just any old color I had a lot of, and it just happened to be blue. And I took the little coffee shop sign off and the base, because we don't need that. And we're going to paint it the color that we actually want, which is a nice mossy green. We're also going to paint the little door kind of a limey green, and all the trimming. We don't need to be absolutely perfect right now, because we're going to keep adding and adding and adding, and it'll look cool at the end. I promise. I promise. I also made sure and went and drilled some holes for all my lights. I found a set of lights that had 10 lights on it, so I pre-planned where I wanted all these little 10 lights to go, and then I cut out a hole in the back so that I can put the battery pack there, and it's tucked in out of the way. I also painted the very tip top of the roof because it's a flat roof, so I kind of made it I painted it white, and then I threw some sawdust on it to give it kind of a texture. I was thinking more like a tar paper kind of look on the flat roofs you kind of see. We don't have a lot of flat roofs here in Washington State. They just would not work here. But so I looked up a lot of pictures, and this seemed about right, and it looked cool. And now we're going to make some roofing material. What you're going to do, this is my favorite type of roofing tiles that I like to make, is I just make long strips, and you're going to need a bunch of them. You'll always need more than you think you do, so make a lot. Next, you're just going to do an easy fringe all the way down on every single one. Your hands will hate you by the end of this, but it turns out really neat, and it is, like I said, my favorite roofing that I do. After you're done with all the fringes, then what you're going to do is make little random notches go in one direction, and it's just completely random. It just kind of makes it look like it's all worn and tattered little shingles. And then you're going to flip it over and you're going to go the other direction, so it's kind of more jaggedy. The less even the better. You want it to look a little more worn and natural, not fake, I guess. And now I'm going to make a long cut every, about a ½ an inch or so, all the way down. This is going to be your individual shingles. And then you just bend up every other one. And when you place it on the house, you just kind of put it in a staggered pattern and it'll look like a shingled roof. And now you have a bunch of little ruffles. Let's start gluing it onto the house. I also made some flat corner pieces just to cover the edges on the corners, and this makes it gives it a more uniform look. And now we're getting ready to paint. I really like this gel stain type of paint. It's kind of clear, but it's a little bit gloopy, and it gives a really good wood tone. And I just painted all over, and then after that dried, I went back and made random tiles a little bit darker, just to give it a more natural look. I also went back over it with just a real dry brush of green, just kind of giving it that weathered, mossy look. I love mossy, mossy, mossy everywhere, and you will see it later on. Made some simple little fences. It's just popsicle sticks glued together, all at the same length. Actually, it's better when it's kind of randomly off. And then painted it my favorite gel stain paint. And I also did the sides kind of a little bit shorter so that you can see into where the house is. I had to make something to put the crates on, and I completely made this up, and it was trial and error, and it was a little fiddly and frustrating at times, but it worked out really cool at the end. So my idea was kind of like a little easel to hold the crates, and here I'm putting two together. I ended up making it 3 high to hold the crates. Like I said, I just made it up on the fly, and I didn't really like the angle it ultimately ended up with, but it works for its purpose. Also, gluing these pieces together was not fun. They just kept falling apart, and I had to reinforce and hold it up with a whole bunch of little paint bottles and everything to get it to glue together. Once we get it down on the grass, it'll even out, and it works, and it fits the little crates just so. Work on the windows. I have this plastic canvas I use for windows all the time, and I just cut this to size, and then I cut out a few pieces in the middle to give it a more wider window pane, and then backed it up with some wax paper, and it gives a really cool effect when the lights are behind it. I also painted all of them black, just so that they'll pop up in the windowsill there. After flattening them out with our handy little brick, we're just going to glue them in place. And I put that middle window for the door kind of at an angle, so because it kind of looked cooler. And I'm going to do a little test just to make sure, because I got paranoid. I was like, oh, what if I can't see through them? And it works just fine. Looks cool. And my favorite thing to do is to mossify everywhere. I made this one so that the moss kind of creeped up from the bottom, and then I put it at the top of the windowsills and then randomly on the roof. Try to make it as scattered and as natural as possible. And now we're going to glue our little faucet that we made a while ago. I cut it off the wire, and you could just leave it on the wire and then make kind of a pole so it looks like it's a pipe coming from the ground. I decided to have it coming from the building itself, like most buildings are. And now we get to the foundation of everything. So I kind of marked off where the house will be, and this jumbled mess is going to be the lights. And I wanted it so that when you slid it under the house, that you wouldn't lose all the battery pack under there, because you'll never get it off once you glue the house down. So I made these little walls so that it wouldn't go far back and get lost under there. I do a lot of dry fitting just to make sure everything fits where I want it to, and then because you want to be able to fit it before you do everything together and then get mad at the end. But I do that a lot. And now we're just gonna feed all the lights through all the holes that we put in the house. And also glue, well, we didn't glue them. I just duct taped the 3 lights for the 3 windows right above where the window was, and you're good on those. Test the lights because I want to make sure I didn't break any wires or anything like that, and it works. We're good. I'm going to use some pens to make light fixtures. Super easy, and it cuts on the bandsaw super easy. And I had some colored pens and a regular ballpoint pen, and I just cut a piece big enough to cover the lights. So I want this one in the front to be kind of like a porch light, and then the 4 going off the sides, I'm going to make it kind of like little party lights to accentuate the fence and the little fruit stands. Put the little sign up, and I had designated 2 lights to go on either side of the sign. I just printed a random farmer's market sign off the internet and put it on a piece of cardboard and Mod Podged it on there, and we're just going to glue it on there and put the lights to each side because we got to know where we're going, right? And now we're going to glue the little porch light on, just feeding it through. You want to do as much as possible before you glue this house down as far as lights and fixtures and things like that, because once that house is glued down, you are not getting your hand in there. So do as much as you can before you glue the house down. And yep, it worked out. Looks good. Now we're just going to glue the 4 party lights, I guess I'll call them, or colored porch lights. And with these kind of lights, planning is very, very important. You can't just make it up on the fly because, as you see, you got to make the holes in the right spot before you paint it. You got to have the lines long enough to where you want it. So pre-planning is the key, especially with lighting. All right, here we go with, we're gonna start doing the landscaping. So I'm just doing a little tester to see where I want all my paths and grass to go. And first I'm gonna do is just mark out where I want my footpath to be. Basically where people would probably walk. And this does not have to be perfect because it's going to be covered up. But we want a base color because otherwise when we put the gravel or whatever you use for the path, it's going to show that green underneath. So that's why I put kind of the sandy color underneath. And now we're going to do static grass. Very cool. I found that just using plain old regular school glue works great for this. And it's cheap, so you don't have to buy the special static grass stuff. It works for me anyway. I just glop it down, put my charger on there. That's the little spider looking thing, and it gives the grass a static charge, and it stands straight up, and it looks more like a lawn. And there you go. I think every diorama, everything always looks better with some grass and gravel and rocks. Just gives it a more dimension. It looks cool. And now we're going to lay down our path. And I constantly have a good supply of sawdust, and I use it all the time. I used it on the roof, remember? And now I'm going to use it on this pathway. Just kind of give it a gravelly, sandy look. Just to add a little bit more, and because I had some, is I just put some little sand colored pebbles everywhere. The more you add, the better in my book. Alright, and now we're going to glue the lights to our fruit stands. I just found the middle of the fruit stand, bent it, as you can see, and just super glued it. Just take your time, glue it, hold it, glue it, hold it kind of thing, and you'll have your lights right in the middle where you want it. Now it's time to start setting things in place. This is where all your pre-planning will show, and see if you did it right. all these signs. It's super easy. It's just open up a Word document and print it up. And you just got to make it teeny tiny. That's the only difference. And then I just backed it with some cardboard and Mod Podged it together. And yep, I even made a little business hours sign, because you gotta know when the store's open, right? And now let's just start doing the fun part, placing all our objects into our little diorama here. I cut some triangles from a bunch of different random scraps of material, and I thought, let's cover this wire a little bit more and make it a little more fun and festive. So I made a bunch of little flags and put it on all the wires that are hanging out. And there you go. You got yourself a little farmer's market. We got some fresh carrots and some lettuce or kale, whatever you want it to be. I know the prices aren't right, but hey, whatever. And we got the front door, and we're selling some honey and some jam. And there's our lovely sign. And oh, we got some fruits over here. There's some bananas. Don't forget our fresh watermelons. And our little garden center with our pitchfork and our shovel and hose. We got everything all together there. And our lovely little lights. And now with the lights on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I really had fun making it. And make sure you give me a like if you like it, of course, and subscribe would be awesome. I have a lot more ideas and projects coming, so stay tuned for those. And thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.